Is 5:36, calling Rules Committee to order. Each and every one of you should have a summary here that was typed out of the proposed rule changes that are, and I use the word proposed, for the 2014-2015 term. Okay, also there is a copy of our existing rules with the red lines, which they're not red, everything is printed in black and white, kind of showing the impact of each rule, each proposed rule change. Let me keep using the word proposed because nothing's set in stone.
Question.
Yes?
When were these done?
Over the last 2 weeks, I guess.
Who did them?
Edmund Mack had worked on them, Bill Schmuckler, and I had chimed in.
You chimed in.
Chimed in, yes.
So you didn't meet as a committee?
No. No, so this...
So people on this said committee who did, I don't know, didn't have a say in this?
That's why we're meeting right now.
Nobody asked me for what I thought, any suggestions?
And that's what we're doing right now.
That's not what I heard. Okay.
Chairman. Mr. Schmucker?
I volunteered my suggestion.
Point of order, I guess the dog director or who am I speaking to? I don't know. This isn't a committee meeting, this is a work session, right? Is that correct?
No, this is a committee meeting.
It's my understanding we didn't pick committees yet.
Okay.
Law director, if I may ask, and I'm saying this because, again, the vote last week, I didn't get 7 votes, you didn't get 7 votes, therefore we didn't have a majority leader. I don't understand how we have a committee meeting tonight without a majority leader.
Okay, so basically what you're saying, Member Smith, is you don't recognize me as the majority.
Mr. West.
Mr. West, I'm sorry, I
I
apologize.
must be on your mind, honey.
Yeah, you are good.
Okay.
You don't recognize me as the majority leader or vice president of city council. That's what you're saying, correct?
My understanding, and as I had indicated in my letter to council, and I believe everybody got a copy from what I heard, was that if you look at the Rule 24C, under informal resolutions, all informal resolutions require 7 votes to become passage. And that's an informal resolution that we passed last week.
Okay.
We didn't get a chance to deliberate after the ruling last week. And from what I understood, you met with the law director along with Alan Schulman, and I understand that that did not, as of Friday, that we did not have a majority leader, based on a law department's decision. Is that not true?
Based on the law department's decision.
Based on our law director
Okay.
saying that reviewing the rules, and that the 7 majorities did not get reached, so therefore we do not have a majority leader, according to our law director.
No, if I can, I haven't made a ruling yet. Thank you. I haven't made a ruling yet. I have a request for legal opinion. As you all know, under the state code, that if a city official, elected official, appointing authority asks me for an opinion, or a member of the legislative authority, I am to reasonably respond to that within a reasonable amount of time. I haven't done that yet. There's some complicated issues here. I don't want to, and I understand, over today's meeting about rules, there was some concerns about who can do what, who can call what, who can cancel what. I don't mean to interfere with your internal procedures. I mean, obviously you're here to do something that needs done. You're here to have a work session, talk about rules that need to be changed. I think we all agree on that. Some of you, and then particularly, have done a lot of work. I think, going forward with the business of the city is important. How you have your rules for the next 2 years is very important. I would not try to interfere with that. What I guess I will say is, when And here's where I'm going to try to draw a little bit of a line. I don't want to interfere with your work, in your internal work and moving forward with the business of the city. But when something reaches me, and that's not here today, that's not here right now, but when something reaches me for legislation, I'll probably be asking you, after I explain why, to have at least 7 of you sign off on it. And I can get into that later if you like. But for right now, again, my goal is not to stymie the work of the council or the city. And this is one of those things we really ought to move forward on. However it's led or discussed, these are important to your next 2 years. I think we can all agree on that.
But it's not like we don't have a set of rules in place.
We do. We do.
So, I mean,
We do have a set
the
of rules.
emergency is not here to.
No. And again, I don't think that you are running afoul of where I might be in my legal research or my opinion yet. It's probably the shortest answer.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Fisher.
correct me if I'm wrong on this, Law Director. The chair made a ruling last week.
Yes.
The ruling was that there had been a 6-5 election, that under our rules, under Robert's Rules of Order, when our rules are silent, the legislative body obviously governs itself as far as our officers. The chair made a ruling. If there's, if any members, Member West, any other members wish to move forward with, whatever sense they might want to do, that's, obviously your prerogative. But the chair made a ruling last week. That ruling stands as far as I would see it from a legal standpoint until we hear something different. So as of today, I see that we have an elected vice president, president pro tempore, majority leader of city council, who has just chaired brought a committee meeting to order. Am I incorrect in that?
Member Fisher, thanks for your question. I agree that as the presiding officer, the president of council had the authority to run the meeting and administer the rules that we were under last Thursday as he saw appropriate. The rules we were under last Thursday were the rules we've been under the last 2 to 4 years, and the ones we're under today. We do have a respectful difference of opinion on what majority meant in those circumstances. I still believe it's 7. But again, you're right, that the chair had the right to conduct the meeting. He conducted it the way he did. There was no appeal to the chair. That's a separate issue that I've been asked to look at. But again, I'm not challenging that tonight. I'm simply saying that when your material comes to me, when your chairpersons send authority to proceed to me to prepare an ordinance, until this is resolved, and I'm kind of grateful that we have a week off to get this wrapped up, hopefully legally speaking. Until it's resolved, I would be more comfortable having 7 folks, which is the majority of council, authorize the preparation of legislation. Call me overly prudent, but I want to make sure that if this issue were to end up in litigation, and I think we all hope it won't, but if it were, I don't want any ordinances to be challenged for having been void from the beginning. In Latin, they call that void ab initio, void from the beginning. I'm being overly prudent. And that's not why we're here tonight. You're here tonight to talk about your rules. And yes, it's true, we're already under some rules, but I think we've all learned from the last couple of years, if not longer, that some of them could be better drafted. And I don't want to interfere with that. I'm only here to listen and help out if you want some thoughts on the rules. But you raised the other issue. And please, I know there's some frustration. I can feel it. It's palpable. I've heard it. I don't think I put us there. I don't think I put us in this potential gridlock. It's a political issue. You may recall a few years ago, a deadlock was worked out by a split of terms. So I'm just saying, tonight I'm here to help, if you want me to, with your rules. And I'll answer those kinds of questions if you like, because you're council, you're here, you're all here. I will answer your questions as honestly as I can and respectfully as I can.
So I guess my question would be, is this legal? That's what I'm asking. Because under the current rules, under 24C, it states, it doesn't imply, that they have to have a majority of all members of council in order for that informal resolution to pass under 24C. So is this legal based on our current rule and that we're looking at?
Mr. Chairman,
Member Mario.
this meeting is to discuss rules, not the vote that took place last week. For that reason, we should discuss the rules. The city has business that it needs to get taken care of. The discussion that this meeting is for is on rules, not on past votes. So I think that we should stay on topic, stay on the rules, and that will be settled another time. The chair has ruled that Frank is the majority leader. So as that stands right now, that is the ruling. So now we are here to discuss rules. We should discuss the rules. This is not the time to discuss past votes. Law Director Martuccio will render his legal opinion, and then any parties can move forward with how they see fit. But this meeting needs to stay on these rules.
Just one question. If we go through all of this, and it turned out that we needed 7 votes, everything we do will be unraveled, is that correct?
Incorrect.
I can't render an opinion on that. Let me say this, though. What you're doing will take 8 votes, ultimately. Under your rules, you cannot amend your bylaws unless you have 8 votes of council, and they have to be amended at a regular meeting of council. How they get there, I can talk about, I suppose, in an opinion about how the committees are formed and who's appointing them. But ultimately, you will have to have 8 votes to pass these. So tonight, well, yes, but that committee work hasn't been assigned to me yet. I'm still working on a decision in response to Mr. West about that. What I'm saying now tonight is, you're here, I think it's appropriate to continue as a work session on your rules.
Not a work session. Not a work session. That's what we're trying to define. That's the first question I asked.
I think it's unavoidable that this is a committee thing.
Let's call it a committee of the whole. If 8 of you vote to make it a committee of the whole, then anything you
Okay.
do from here on is
With all due respect,
unchallengeable.
with all due respect to the law director, it's called a committee. It was called a committee meeting, okay? Whether you want to question whether I had the authority to call this meeting or not, you can do that at a later date. You have the rules, the proposed rules in front of you to review. I will be calling another rules committee so we can sit down and review the rules. Whether you want to recognize me as the chair or not, that's your own prerogative, okay? But until a court of law proves it otherwise, then we're going to proceed forward and we're going to take care of business of the city. Okay? These are the draft of rules. I would appreciate everybody to chime in. What do you like? What don't you like? So we can get back to governing as a group. Okay? Whether you like me, you hate me, it's irrelevant.
But I just have one concern and one issue. As I look at these rules committee, I just have a question. Fish, did you work on them? Did you work on them?
No, I've,
Okay,
in
that's all I
the
wanted to
past,
say.
in the past, Member Smith, I've given my opinions
Okay.
on rules, but
Because, no, I got the floor. Because I never worked on them.
Correct.
And I just feel like all of the council members should have gotten copies before today of these rules. Because these rules came in way before committees should have even been chosen.
And this is why we postponed and moved this meeting out per your request, because you felt that everybody should have an opportunity to chew on these for a while before we ever take it out onto the floor. Therefore, that is why we are here now.
But
It's
when
a
did y'all
committee
get the
meeting.
rules? When did
You
you
have an
get-
opportunity to review the
When
rules.
did they get the rules?
Tonight.
Can I speak, Mr. Chairman? And Chris, I just remind you that you received this on January 3rd as a member of the Rules Committee.
Okay,
emailed it
after
to
I
you.
asked
I asked
for
for it,
it.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can just tell everyone, I obviously prepared the memo, what the genesis of this is. There have been conversations I have had with Smuckler, with Frank, Kevin, all oral conversations about what are some of the things that could be improved on in the rules. Maybe we can have a meeting, talk about these, get started, and see what the other considerations are. I prepared this memo, okay, you understand? I circulated this as what I thought to be where it stood now is to where other people's minds are. I understood the purpose of this meeting to see what other ideas, what other thoughts anyone else had that they wanted to add to this list, detract from this list. Maybe after they've had a chance to think about these, they can contact me, contact Frank, and they can add those to the list. No one is being asked to vote on anything tonight. No one is being kept away or anything kept secret from them. You need 8 votes to get these things passed, people. I don't think anything's going to be stuck past you. So let's get the dialogue going, and let's see if there's some improvements to be made. If you guys are just completely frustrated with the process and want to walk out of the room, do it. But let's at least try to do this. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
I mean, where do you get that from?
I think, and I would suggest, we do the city's business, get to what's here. If there's something else you want to add, let's talk about the rules.
I don't have.
But to me, why did you call everybody in the beginning before y'all went through?
Why didn't you,
before
Chris? You
Why
received the
did
same
I?
email.
Why didn't I?
Why didn't you?
Because first of all, we didn't even know you was the chairman.
I'm not. Frank is. Look at
Yeah,
the memo.
No.
And anybody
Okay.
can work on rules.
Okay, but
Anybody
what
can
I'm
present
saying
changes.
is, before this day, we should have had a meeting just like this before now. There's members that just got the rules
Did you ask
today.
for a meeting?
Did I ask for a meeting?
That's what I asked.
No, I didn't ask for a
Okay, well,
meeting.
we have a meeting now, so let's talk about the rules.
And I do agree one thing with what you're saying, Kevin. We need to get on to the city's business, and I agree with that. Can we all agree that this is a work session, not a committee meeting, of any committee, because obviously that wasn't sent out in time. Friday, when I went to Pennsylvania to see my aunt be buried, today I came back and we got a meeting, when last week it was canceled. So,
It was
all of that.
It was
yes,
canceled
Friday-
last week.
Friday,
No.
it was done.
It was on the agenda on Thursday, on Friday morning.
Was the meeting canceled last week?
It was canceled Saturday morning.
By whom?
Who canceled it?
I did, per the direction of the law director.
And I was unaware that our clerk answered to the law director.
And as I mentioned earlier, she doesn't. That's why I'm trying to, my friend Alan called me today, we talked about separation of powers. He and I are executive officers of the city. You are the legislative branch, and, Cindy's your appointee.
So you don't have a boss right now, does she?
Well, a majority of council is her boss. A majority of council is necessary to pay her, to appoint her. Yes.
Let me say something. First of all, I don't think it's fair to put Cindy in the middle of this,
Neither do I.
but is Joe Martucci our law director? He gives legal opinions.
Opinions.
And opinions, I agree. So in other words, every time he gives us an opinion, we can overrule it, right?
Correct.
That's right.
Yes. You can.
Okay. And then, but if we get sued, he don't have to represent us.
He doesn't have to represent you.
No.
I'd like to represent me.
Well, no, I'm just saying, right? I'm just asking. I don't know.
And if we can get back to the rules, I do have, any of us can propose changes. You don't have to just serve on, is that correct? You don't have to serve on the rules committee to propose changes.
Correct.
From how I'm seeing this, Edmund, being an attorney, having an interest in this, which I find to be amazing, has proposed changes, as anyone else on council could have done. I don't understand what the issue is with having a meeting like everybody would like to discuss rule changes that a member of this body would like to see. If you don't like them, then let's take things out. This seems to me as just something that Edmund worked on to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. You guys have any thoughts? This is not set in stone. This is not.
Even something we're voting on tonight.
Dave.
I think that's a draft.
you have to understand, unfortunately, the perception that is out there because of the kind of the way it was done. So let's just be real. You know, it's like everyone is going behind certain people's backs to get this drawn up. It's a perception that needs to change. Okay? And we need to compromise on things, but you got one side going down this road and this side going down that road. And we're going to have a collision.
Correct.
So everyone think of compromise in their minds. Right now there's a negative perception that all this was done up. You guys, you say anybody at any time. Nobody knew anybody was working on anything. Okay? I'm just saying from past, if you want to change the way things are done, the majority leader would let everybody know, hey, here's the committee, here's what we're working on. Please give us like I did 2 years ago, give us your opinion on the rules.
And if I could, Mr. Chairman, actually what you did, Dave, is what I modeled this after. Because you created proposed amendments. The first time we saw them was when we had a rules committee. No votes were taken that night.
Right.
And what you said was, we're going to meet again. If you guys like them, if you guys don't like them, let's talk about it. And that's what I think Frank is the chair, and what I try to do with this. Get the discussion going.
I just think it was just a negative perception after what was going on. That's all.
I get you.
If that perception was there, I don't think that was meant. I don't
All right.
think that was the intent.
Member Fisher? Come on.
If we can actually move forward on these, I have a question on the very first rule change.